Hello and welcome to my channel. Do you want to get away to a new island with a deserted island package, just like on our favourite game, Animal Crossing? Well, too bad, because today I'm going to be talking about The Sims 2 Castaway. The Sims 2 Castaway is the third console spin-off for the Sims franchise. It was released in October 2007 for the Wii, PlayStation 2, PSP and the Nintendo DS. In this video, I'm going to be doing a deep dive into the PSP and the Nintendo DS version of this game, but I won't be covering the PC equivalent of Castaway stories, as I don't really have a clue what that is. I've played through both of these games and will discuss in depth my thoughts and shit. As always, my kind gesture to you. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Please do not continue the video if you do not want to be spoiled, as this video will contain spoilers. Also, if you don't want to be spoiled about Lost, please don't watch, because I will refer to a couple of things from that 15-year-old show. Spoiler alert. Now join me as we get casted away on Castaway. Since I couldn't get my emulator to work, I'm just going to play on the PSP version. The gameplay is pretty much the same, but the graphics for the PSP is, well, questionable. Developed by EA Redwood Shores and published by EA. As always, we start by creating our sim. You have the occupations you can choose from, so they can have certain skills that you will have for the island before you get casted away. You can choose from a mechanic, chef, doctor, executive, musician, a ranger, whatever that is, or a teacher. I'm going to pick an executive because it is the nicest outfit, and you can choose their personality by picking their star sign. And now time for the name. Lovely jubbly. Here she is, our lass, Poo Poo, ready for a boat trip. Also, I didn't realise that there are no NPCs on the island until I had already made Poo Poo get casted away once. So I had to make her again, so we've now got a companion. Dumb Binch. How has she got a cup of coffee? Well, bish bash bosh, our girls are completed. Poo Poo and Dumb Binch, ready to take on the world, a force to be reckoned with. Now we're having some sort of photo shoot on the boat, when all of a sudden things take a turn for the worst. A storm starts a brewing and Poo Poo is being flung off the ship. Man overboard! We wake up on some beach and this is where our adventure begins. We must find our crew and get back home. So first of all, we find this book, Moneywell's Big Book of Survival. This contains the main goals to progress in the game, but there are another 5 books to complete to 100% the game. But wait a minute, Moneywell's, isn't that the same brand of the thing that took our photos at the start? Did they know that this was going to happen? Why have they got a big book of information that happens? Did they cast us away? I have questions. But anyway, here's Pooh with a knife. The genre is that of a survival game, where we collect materials, craft shite, and discover the secrets of the island. And I guess this is how we use the facilities. So on the original island, we can build a raft to get to Aeroplane Island, and whilst on Aeroplane Island, we can build a canoe to travel to Volcano Island, and when we repair some forge in the temple, it'll unlock Crystal Island, and that is the extent of the map. So 4 lovely islands. So we explore the deep jungle and lose our clothes in the process. My executive outfit is not slayed anymore and she is in tatters. There's also a skeleton here. I kind of want to revive it, but I guess you can't. I guess it's just a bit of decoration. John Skeleton is just chilling there. So I head to Shipwreck Lagoon, which looks like paradise, but I just want to go behind this waterfall, but I guess you can't. Whilst we're exploring the island, we can find items that kind of uncover mysteries. So we've got statues, the hieroglyphics. What does it all mean? There are also treasure map pieces we can collect. Also, sometimes your sim just collapses on the floor, some dramatic music and we can't move for a while, and it's all because the volcano erupts or something. And like I said before, there's no NPCs, so I'm just befriending all these bloody chimps. So I'll call this bloke John, in honour of John Locke, and he'll beat my Bezzy mate. Not a clue where Dunbinch is, but I guess I'll go to the next island then. So we get to Aeroplane Island and I go into the jungle, and who do I see canoodling with a chimp but our crewmate, Dum? But why are her clothes fine though and I'm in tatters? Well, good to see you, Dum, I guess. A pleasure as always. So we force her to join our tribe because, you know, that's our goal, innit? I clipped behind this rock for some reason. Don't tell me what I can't do.
Don't ever tell me what I can't do, ever!
It turns out it actually leads to another area, but I will get to that later. For now, I'll go through each of the goals and the lore of each book. I couldn't really find any of the lore documented online, so I guess I'll do it. Honeywell's Big Book of Survival. If you have made it this far, then you have avoided immediate death. Congratulations. Now let's turn our thoughts to impending death. The best way to avoid impending death is to start thinking long term about your survival prospects. It's time to start developing some skills and tools that will help you survive over the long haul. If you landed on a deserted island, then it's possible that other people survived as well. Once you've taken care of your basic needs, you should try your best to find these other people, because a group of people work more efficiently than one, provided they don't go crazy. Remember, if you find someone who blinks just a little too much, you should probably leave them alone. Some people arrive at the doorstep of disaster and realise that they've discovered their new home. After all, there are worse things than living the rest of your days on a tropical island. Still, if you want to go home, you need a plan, and the plan usually boils down to one of two things: leave this island, or try to contact someone to pick you up. If you're lucky, the choice will be yours to make. So our ultimate goal is to get back home, innit? To do that, we've got to gather the radio and transmitter from various parts of the jungle, put it on top of the volcano, and we can also play a little bit of music up here. But come on, focus, we can do an SOS from up here. Then there's this weird cutscene where a passing cruise ship hears our plea and comes to our rescue, but doesn't rescue our crewmate for some reason. We get back home, we've got lots of lovely bills waiting for us. Another goal is to build a seaworthy boat, which requires a high body skill and lots of various materials. This time, there's a cutscene where both Pooh and Dum get picked up by the same cruise ship, yet this time it's Dum gets home and she's the one footing the bill. guess the ending is almost like saying, life was easier on the island, just go back. Anyway, the ending, if you choose to go home, will just make you quit the game and you'll have to play from your last save point. I guess once I had completed the game and I was like, is this it? I just became more and more obsessed with 100% in the whole thing, just to see if I could unlock anything new. Shipwrecked by Lord of Stickywick. This is the journal of Lord Reginald Wainscott Stickywick von Dossenwald, 37th Earl of Biscuit, and his documentation of the proceedings of the first expedition of the HMS Poodle under the command of Captain J. Artibus Mogg. As noted in an earlier journal, we have shipwrecked on an island and established a small settlement awaiting rescue. Today we discovered we were not alone when we met a small furry man who had a shocking disregard for our lavatory. The crew of HMS Poodle has created a small settlement near the shipwreck that I have christened Biscuit Town in honour of me. I have instructed my manservant, Haythornthwaite, to immediately embroider a flag in my likeness after he finishes buffing my face powder collection. I have also instructed my Hilton prepare my island quarters with the domestic refinements appropriate for one of my station. While chasing a small furry man from our camp, Haythornthwaite discovered a second island to the southeast of Biscuit Town, now called Fort Biscuit due to the daily incursions by the local tribe of furry men. My manservant believes he has also found the remnants of an ancient pier that we may be able to use to travel to the second island if we decide to abandon Fort Biscuit to the tribe of furry men. The goals included in this second book are really just basic goals: build a bed, table and a raft, which are completed as we naturally progress through the game. What I find more interesting is the passage of information about the previous inhabitant, Lord R. Stickywick. Just like our sim, he and his crew have been shipwrecked on the same island as us, but unlike us, he thinks the monkeys are furry men and has renamed the island as Biscuit Town in honour of myself. I find Stickywick's memoirs so funny, as the 37th Earl of Biscuit on his voyage in the HMS Poodle, bloody bringing his face powder collection with him. It's almost taking the piss out of earldom. Log of the final voyage of Beard the Pirate. This is the journal of John Wilson, aka Beard the Pirate. Dread scourge of the seven seas, border of ships, plunderer of gold, divinator of fancy men and their fancy ways. Today we've returned to our home base after a long voyage of plundering and looting, and I have ordered my men to further explore our island and prepare for another voyage of adventure. It's been several months now since we first returned from our last voyage, because we have been cursed with a visit from my mother, the dread pirate Edith, and her band of scandal-mongering blatherskites. Upon seeing my slight frame, my beloved mother insisted that I could not leave this island until I have proven to her that I know how to eat properly. I'm hoping that with a little cause for optimism, she leaves before the end of my natural life. In this book, our goals are to explore the island by finding things like beaches, rivers, and a really eerie cave. We have to catch a chicken, a shark, and hunt a boar. And I only found a boar to hunt after I had killed off Dumb. I'll get to that later though. They were in abundance once she was no longer with us. The Beard log is funny as well, describing his relationship with his mum. But at first I read it as Blackbeard, so I guess your mind reads what it wants to, doesn't it? Moneywell's Big Book of Survival 2. If you have read this far, you have probably given up hope of a quick rescue. Or perhaps you've decided to say goodbye to the real world and you are ready to more firmly establish your new tropical home. In either event, welcome to the exciting world of dirt farming. Foraging for food requires a lot of energy. If you can collect all your food in one place, you can maximise your chance of survival by minimising your exposure to the wilds of the wilderness. So grab a hoe and let's go. Rafts are suitable vessels for navigating calm waters, but they are ill-equipped for crossing a span of water that requires agility and speed in order to navigate hazardous obstacles or quickly changing currents. For this, you'll have better luck with a canoe. So I guess we'd be farming now. The goals in the next book include planting a crop, harvesting a crop, harvest an egg. We build a chicken house and serenade the chicken, and she gives us an egg. Slay. I am slaying as a farmer. We are self-sufficient lads. The Biscuit Isles by Lord R. Stickywick. I have arrived on the third island, the final survivor of HMS Poodle. Having paddled to safety on the back of my manservant, Haythornthwaite. As for the others, their fate lies inscribed somewhere in the belly of a jungle boar, who ate my second journal as I fled for safety on Haythornthwaite's able back. Suffice to say that the crew fell to the multiple miseries of a dozen mutinies, the unslacked hunger of the ravenous boars, and an ill-advised journey across a span of devil quicksand, which I have named Biscuit Sand in my honour. I found further evidence today of a lost civilization who worshipped an animal with a most peculiar morphology, a shape similar to a mutant goat or a bubonic horse. This strange creature appears to be a new species, so I have named it the Biscuit Goat Horse, in honour of myself. Why did these people worship the Biscuit Goat Horse? Perhaps more will be revealed when I make the arduous climb up the ancient staircase that wraps itself around the volcano. Pity Haythornthwaite isn't here. I sometimes wonder if my mind is not entirely my own. I've now lived on these islands for many, many months, and I found myself abandoning the amenities of a balanced mind. On the positive side, I found a crown and declared myself King Biscuit I of the Biscuit Islands, named in my honour. Tonight, having used the crown in the most creative way to open a secret door to a magnificent palace, I will marry my longtime companion these many months, a petite, well-mannered coconut I have named Elizabeth. May we live longer, happy lives. Goodbye forever. So these goals are the most interesting for me. We find the llama temple, so it's similar to the Sims 2 with the cow cult. Here we have a llama cult, it seems. We can see all around the volcano island the various statues of llamas, and we also collect these llama statues. What does it all mean? Where is the llama cult lore? Where are the llama worshippers? We have to perform a ceremonial cliff dive and find the Llama King's crown, which will unlock the secret door where we use our actual head to open the door in the cave, so we get access to the Llama Palace, where our final task is to just enjoy the palace. Thankfully, my questions about the llama cult lore have kind of been answered in Lord R. Stickywick's memoirs, recording his discovery, which is really entertaining, especially about his descent into madness, marrying Lizzie the coconut. Could we be heading down the same slippery slope? A Pirate's Guide to Retirement. By my 7 beards, I have never met a woman as stubborn as my mother, the dread pirate Edith. We are now 3 years since she interrupted the preparations for my next voyage, and she has now commandeered my equipment and my men to build herself a country villa so that she can retire in peace. I curse her and her peanut butter cookies. I write this as the most wretched pirate in the history of Avarice. My mother has officially taken command of my men, and I have been sent to bed without supper on the account of my unwillingness to shave my beards. Shave my beards? Is the woman mad? Alas, yes, she must be, for she has now decided to build magnificent city of pirates in the mould of El Dorado or Shangri-La. Madness will all be dead in a week. The next goals entail building a cabin with furniture and then a bungalow with a lavish shower and toilet for that bungalow. Well, at this point I used the cheat gnome because you know what? It was hard enough crafting these buildings, never mind gathering all the materials. The final task is finding Beard's chest. Once we have all the map pieces, we craft the treasure map wall art, which will tell us to go back to Aeroplane Island and inspect that boulder that we clipped through earlier. And it will lead us to Pirate's Cove, where our treasure is a beautiful pirate outfit, peg leg and all. Poor Beard though, he just wanted to go on his next voyage and his mum stopped all that, taking his men and made herself a villa. I'm just going to talk about all the little extras you can collect in this. So once we have collected all the hieroglyphics, we can see the picture that it created. This is the passage of text to accompany it. Congratulations, you have collected all the pieces of the hieroglyphics. These pictograms show the long and complicated history of the ancient Llama people. They show the spiritual enlightenment of the people. The arrival of the Llama Spirit Guide. It chronicles the Great War with the aliens, the crowning of the first leader of the Llama people, the training of the beasts, and the arrival of the high art of the modern Llama dance. There are also details about the 4 statues that we collected. So we've got King Lufa-Lava. He was once a ruler of all he surveyed, which was a fairly large area given his abnormally acute vision. Prince Lufa-Lava was a notorious cad who enjoyed making naughty sand sculptures. Princess Lufa-Lava. The story of the princess is a tragic one. Her untimely demise now serves as a warning to children. The dangers of eel juggling. Queen Lufa-Lava. To her husband, she was a real battle axe, but to her subjects, she was much, much worse. You can also collect these garden gnomes from crates that are washed ashore. Here's the information written about him. Shifty Sam the garden gnome. He may be small, but he's not your average garden gnome. Evil clown scientists developed Shifty Sam from the grated plastic of disgraced dolls and the evil linearity of ethically lapsed fiddle strings to offer customers the finest in contemporary gnome experience. He's watching you. There's a little bit of information about Beard's sword as well. Legend has it, Beard slept with his sword every night and even used it to spread his butter on his biscuits. Biscuits? In honour of biscuits. Why I killed Dumb Binge. Well, I was trying to craft the houses and realised I could change the character, so I was playing as Pooh all this time and I could be playing as Dumb Binge. So Pooh's been doing all this back-breaking labour, so I want Dumb to do a bit of work. So I guess one thing led to another. I wanted her to carry on working. I didn't want her to eat. She needed to keep working just like me playing this game. I needed to see it through to the bitter end. And anyway, this woman, I proposed to her, and I read that you can woohoo in this game, but never figured out how. Well, anyway, she went up to the volcano and sadly passed away. Pooh mourned for a wee while. Like, I wanted the death daisy anyway to see if I could revive the skeleton that I saw at first, but because she died in such an awkward place, I couldn't even get the death daisy. And also boars started appearing, so I guess I just had a run-in with a boar instead. At first, I did hate this game, and to be honest, I'm not really a fan of survival gathering games. So when I got weirdly addicted to 100% in the game, I was shocked. Why did I even want to 100% it for? But there's so many places to explore, and different islands and recipes to unlock, and so many materials to gather and stuff to craft. It's actually quite impressive. You can make yourself your dream beach home full of furniture and instruments, and fun. But once you've done that, then what? I guess just surviving on the island. Unlocking the secrets is what I wanted to discover though. There's a skeleton, I want to know what the skeleton's for. I want to revive them. The crashed aeroplane wreckage on Aeroplane Island. Is this like on Lost? The shipwreck. Is this like the shipwreck from Lost? The temple. Is this like the temple from Lost? Where's Charlie? Where's Mr. Echo? Where's Juliet? I like Lost, okay. Well, of course, we are playing as a sim who is trapped on an island, and once we leave, we've got to go back. Well, the connections to the series Lost aren't all in my tiny Sims-obsessed brain. In this interview with Ben Bell, the senior producer of the game in 2007, when asked about why the game was set on an island, he says, "Because it's fun. It's one of those themes that's so enduring. Starting with the Odyssey, and up through to the modern day TV shows like Survivor and Lost, people have always been interested in the theme. There is so much inspiration that you can find when you think about what would the gameplay be like. It just seems so rich. That's basically it. We looked at it and it just seems so full of cool ideas for fun gameplay. In a way, it's a little bit us living out a fantasy. Like, it sure would be nice to get away like that." For me, reading through the information contained in each book was what I loved the most. So much effort went into explaining certain aspects of the island. I guess this is the Sims version of Blackbeard and his weird relationship with his mum. I must mention how much I love Lord R. Stickywick's memoirs of his experience of being shipwrecked, and his delusion of his importance, the mockery of earldom, and his descent into madness. Whenever I have myself a sexy bicky, I will think of him naming the biscuit, in honour of himself and his manslave, Haythornthwaite, poor bloke. But these passages of text were so interesting to delve into and discover the lore of these islands. It definitely immersed me deeper into the game and made me enjoy it more. The fact that this game has no music at all in any of the areas, I really didn't like. The only time that you actually heard music was when you flipped onto the menu. It makes it seem so dark and eerie, like you are completely alone on this island. Well, apart from the chimps and the skeleton, especially now Dom has died. Another thing I disliked about this game was the lack of NPCs. I love having a good natter with the locals, as you all know, but I'm not sure if NPCs are a good thing, which I'll explore this in a moment in the DS version. Maybe if I played this game as a kid, I would have some sort of nostalgic pedestal for it. But for me, it was a very lonely, weird, but quirky game. I guess that was what it would be like to be washed up on a desert island. I don't know, I've never been washed up on a desert island before. I was going to play the game again, making the lost characters, but as soon as I couldn't make a bald bloke to be John Locke, I didn't really want to play it anymore. I don't think I'd play it again, but I don't regret playing it. It was fun and weirdly addictive. But the cutscenes when you leave the island, they make me laugh so much. Swimming while it was raining, it's just so silly. But for me, there's just too many unanswered questions. Who's the skeleton and what's with the plane crashes? I definitely recommend playing this game, although it's kind of eerie and lonely. It's fun and weird. There's so many items to gather and things to build that when the game is over, your island life doesn't have to be. Released in October 2007, The Sims 2 Castaway for Nintendo DS is the fourth handheld spin-off of the video game The Sims 2. Developed by Full Fat and published by EA, we start in a similar way that we do in the console version. First of all, we have to create our character, and this is weird, it's not like our usual Sims games. The choice of clothing is illustrated like in a paper doll kind of way, and I have got to wear this top hat, which also mysteriously disappears after this scene. I don't have it anymore. Time for the shoes, and these dogs for free. They are so bloody detailed. What is going on? And now it is time for Chris Newby to now become Pooh. Okay, so not sure what we're doing at a dockyard, but we'd be waving to the ship like those dudes waving to the Titanic in 1912. No, but what the hell though? It's like a cargo ship, not a cruise ship. And I should know as a cruise ship expert. Anyway, we get knocked into a crate and head off to sea. Madagascar the film style, except we don't argue with any animals because we are alone. Now there's a cutscene where we click on the pages of this book and it is a visual account of how I reached the island. And it's weird detailed illustrations too. Beautiful. We wash up onto the island and we have to do this tutorial from a light bulb above our head, showing us what to do. But I tell you what, I wish I had a light bulb over my head that would show me what to do, because I am so confused. With this game, it completely depends on using the touchscreen to move our characters around, and, well, yeah, it made it difficult using it on an emulator. One of the tasks included lighting a fire, which takes advantage of using the state-of-the-art built-in mic on the Nintendo DS to help kindle or whatever you do when you light a fire, which made me think that I had hit a brick wall. Solutions included me blowing into my computer, which doesn't have a state-of-the-art built-in mic. However, I persevered and managed to get the M on the keyboard to do all the blowing for me. Little did I know, this would be the first of many I'm starving. Little did I know that this will be the first of many difficulties I would encounter in this mischievously fiendish game. We have our usual motives and stuff. We piss in a bush, we wash in the sea and sleep in a bed. And the only time that the monkeys make an appearance is if you pass out and they rob you blind. The map is pretty big for a DS game. We need to unlock certain items before we can get to certain areas, like crafting a bridge and building a canoe, and that will unlock more of the areas. Gathering items is included in this game too, whereas in the console version, the things you could craft and the items you can gather seemed endless, but the items in this game didn't spawn as often as they did in the console version, and it made the game seem grindier and longer. So on the island, there are 4 other castaways that have been castawayed to the island, with us on the island. So we need to complete their tasks so we can get all the map pieces and escape from the island. All the tasks are interlinked, so we need to do stuff for one person so we can do something else for someone else, and then something else for someone else, and so on and so forth. And so forth. But the characters are Dr. Feelgood, Ms. Weeder, Chef Butcher, and Susie McDress. And I guess they all do what they say on the tin. A doctor, a gardener, a chef, a tailor. Bloody hell, it's like a nursery rhyme. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. When we first greet each character, the speech bubbles above the head give us a little insight onto how they ended up on this forsaken island. I'll start with Dr. Feelgood. She was in a hot air balloon heading to the moon when lightning struck her down and she landed on the island. So when we come across this person who is someone with medical knowledge, she is on her bloody deathbed and she wants us to catch her a fish, get her some berries and some water. And for all that, she gives us a lovely jubbly hatchet head, which allows us to craft a hatchet, which allows us to get us through the vines and access to Ms. Weeder. So Ms. Weeder, she was living on a farm when a tornado picked her up and brought her to this island. The first thing she wants us to do is revive her banana tree and grow some bananas for her. But now her plants are dying and she needs a cure. But you know, as always, Dr. Feelgood has got the solution for the small price of a pufferfish fish and some bugs. Now let me tell you about this bug crushing game. This was the bane of my life. You need to get a perfect score to get the rare bugs. And I tell you what, I hate this game. Never mind I hate bugs, as you all saw in my last video of that episode in Sims 2 Game Boy Advance. But this one, I raged whilst playing it. I almost quit making this whole video numerous times because of this mini game. I never recorded me finally getting in that perfect score, squishing all these wretched creatures. But I'm not sure if it's because I'm using an emulator or whether it was easier on the DS, but this is the most tedious minigame I have ever played in my life. Not only did I have to play it over and over again, but each time you play it, your sim loses energy. But eventually, I did do it. Thank that sweet lord. So he gives that potion to Miss Weeder, and she gives us a shovel handle. But guess what? She wants more. She wants us to go and get her mangoes. Where are the mangoes? Now let's tell you about this next bloke, Chef Butcher. He was travelling on a cruise ship when he stepped on a banana skin, dropped a person's food, and got kicked off the ship, and they left him behind on an island. We first meet this moody bastard trying to get peaches from the tree, and oh lord, what the heck is he doing? Why is he grunting? We give him a peach, and he's now complaining about the food on the island being too bland. What is this? Where does he think he is? He's on a desert island. We're not in Weatherspoons. The food's too bland. He's making his own food. It's his own fault. Well, okay, we'll get you some chilies and cheer you up. But not for long, as he wants us to make him a fire pit. Ain't no rest for the wicked. And to make the fire pit, we need a hammer, and the hammer handle is only sold by our friend Dr. Feelgood, where she's asking for fuchsia bugs for her hammer handle. Luckily, I have some to spare, so I don't have to play that hellish game again. So we light the fire, make Chef some anchovy and lime tea. Yummy yum yum. Please do not ask me for anything else. Our final inhabitant is Susie McDress. She was on the island waving to a ship to come pick her up when chimps stole her clothes, so she'd rather stay on the island naked than go onto the ship naked. This bitch, she's hiding behind this bush naked. This game is so freaking weird. And when she steps out of the bush, it says this: "A now empty bush. Your sim probably shouldn't touch this." What's she doing in there? We have to make her some clothes. And now she wants some red bugs so she can dye her top red. No, I cannot do this anymore. Now she wants to make a flag and dye it pink using fuchsia bugs. No, I am a slave to this game. Whoever made this game, you will rue the day you made me squish bugs. I do it eventually, but I'm not happy. I'm not happy about the whole... No. So, Susie McDress, after all our hard work for her, has given us a lovely metal pole that we will use for Chef's new fire pit thing, which he has requested for us after we've made him anchovy tea. We used our first metal pole to make a crowbar, and it will give you access to the ship where we can get the most random shite out of these crates, like birthday cakes and pumpkins. What a waste. So once we've completed that, Chef is now finally a satisfied bloke, finally allows us to trade with him. So we can get the final thing we need to get off this purgatory island, a curry recipe for bloody Dr. Bloody Feelgood. I spend all my time growing bamboo for this recipe thinking I had all the ingredients. Little did I know that I needed sugarcane. Why do bamboo and sugarcane look exactly the same? Another day has passed, and I have made Dr. Feelgood feel good with my scrumdiddlyumptious curry. Now we have the final piece of the map. The end is nearly in sight. We go to the edge of the cliff, and there's a cutscene where we somersault into the depths below, where we now land in a weird cavern. I guess a cavern of like a weird cave. There's a big pirate ship there. You can choose to enter the ship or stay on the island. I ain't staying here. I'm sorry, I love you, but I ain't staying here. I don't care about getting this collection to 100%. You can frig right off. So, like the start, there is a final account of what happened to get off the island, and she's done. It's beautifully illustrated, just like the starting was, but I'm sure that my character wasn't that beautiful, or is that someone else? And why have they drawn Chef Butcher to look far better than he actually looks? But no to continue in the game. Thank you very much for the experience. Yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I hate this game. But what I will say was I was engrossed, addicted and obsessed with completing it. Or maybe that's just my stubborn nature. Playing this game many years after its release for the first time, and in my opinion it is very dated. Maybe if I had played this game as a kid it would hold some merit as being a nostalgic classic, but I can't say that it would for sure. I'm sure someone played this as a kid and loved it though, right? Right? There are mini games, the dreaded bug squishing game, the fishing the fish game, you can paint, pole fishing and do a musical duet. I'm not sure if they'd be more fun playing on the actual console or not, but not gonna lie, I don't want to try. I do think the design of the environment and the background are beautiful, but the character's design and how the story flowed didn't make it easy to play. I did have to have game FAQs walkthrough open on the other page to help me navigate through this game, as sometimes I really didn't know what to do. When Susie gave me an axe, and I was just expecting my piece of metal, but she didn't give it to me, and it turned out there was more tasks to do, and it was helpful with the walkthrough to know when and where to fish certain fish and what bugs were under certain rocks. There's a lot of doing shit for people with very little reward, and the crafting is confusing because you tap on the question marks to craft a mystery item, and how do you even cook? Again, in this version of the game, there's not any music except for the Create a Sim page. All we have are dark, atmospheric jungle noises and Chef Butcher's grunts. This game has so much more of a dark atmosphere than the console version, and I just don't know why. You can 100% the game by completing the collection, the bugs, materials, treasures and clothes, but you know what? I really don't want to. I really don't like the aesthetics of the game neither. Our collection catalogue and the way they are a little illustration with a thick black outline, I don't know why, just don't like it. You can kind of tell this wasn't the usual developer of the previous handheld versions of The Sims, and maybe that's why I didn't enjoy it. I had legendary games like Sims 2DS and the Urbz that I was comparing it to. I'm sorry. Also, do you know what else really messed me up? I was digging all these rocks to build an SOS sign on the beach, hoping that it would have let me go home sooner, because I was really not having a good time. But no, do you know what it did? Every couple of days I got sent a care package with a chocolate bar in and things like that, and I don't want that. I just wanted to go home. Although we do get a tiny hint of the characters' stories, we don't get to know about the secrets of the island, the temple, the aeroplane, the viewpoints. Nothing's been explained, and for me this halts my interest in the game. The cover art is just so misleading because the characters aren't very customizable. I want to be a hot babe, not look like this silly gal. If you do want to play this game, yeah, go for it. It was fun in parts, but I'd recommend playing it on the DS rather than an emulator. I don't regret playing it. I'm glad I saw it through to the end. And you know what? I love a good moan. Well, after spending all them hours and hours being deserted on a paradise island, I am exhausted. Got me feeling like Lost from Lost or Madagascar from Madagascar. Even though these games are part of the Sims 2 series, it's amazing to think how the creators created a completely different story from their predecessors, and I'm so grateful for that. If you made it through this video, thank you for indulging me. Let me know in the comments if you did play these games as a child, or maybe even now. I just want to say thank you to everyone for watching my Sims 2 video, I really do appreciate it. I love reading all your stories about how the games impacted your childhoods and your lives. And thanks to all my new subscribers and people who have interacted with my videos. I just want to say thank you so much. It really motivates me to keep making these videos. I love The Sims, it's so silly. Even the games I don't enjoy, I still love them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you're not already subscribed, please do, as I can make this sad SpongeBob noise with my voice.
Slurga! Dag, Shababam.